All right, everyone, we're live here. Good morning. This is Dr.SHIVA Ayyadurai. We're hosting today what we call our open house, and we do this every Thursdays at 11 a.m. and we also do it again at 8 p.m. EST. On we have about 80-90 people on Zoom right now, and then when we also do it on StreamYard, we share our town halls. But today's town hall, and then we'll have questions from our people on the town hall, is going to be about a very, very important topic. It's going to be about how the swarm makes you hopeless and pushes their anointed leaders. And I put the word leaders in double quotes like Trump and Kennedy. And it's a very important, the title we really need to dissect, which says how the swarm makes you hopeless and pushes their anointed leaders, Trump and Kennedy. So what do I mean by this? Well, let's dissect this. First of all, about 2 Fridays ago, I did a video called The Swarm, How the Few Control the Many, 8 billion people. And then what I did was we took that long 1-hour video and we made a condensed version of it, around 15 minutes, which we put out there. And it got close to 2 to 3 million views right now globally. Probably had about 30 million views, given all the shadow banning. And then others sort of started sharing it everywhere. But it was a systems approach to understanding what you call the elites. For, 50, 60 years, people think the elites are this particular religious group, or they think they're these particular group located geographically somewhere, or they're this group of people with a certain skin color, or they're a group who do a particular occupation. And that video gave a very, very detailed analysis, and I did it on a whiteboard with a simple marker and a whiteboard, where we went through basically saying, here are the elites, and we called them the swarm because they're not in any one location. When you start studying system science, like there's a book here called The System and Revolution, and you take the course and you go through, which I recommend everyone do, you will start recognizing that the swarm, the elites, are not any one particular organization. They're distributed. They're a multi-racial, decentralized distribution. So, and in that video, you start recognizing that the swarm has a very particular goal, which is power, profit, and control. That's their goal. And that swarm works together with what is known as swarm intelligence. In system science, we call it a controller. When you go through the analysis and you learn system science, you realize intelligent systems have a goal, and then they have a decision-making engine, which we call the swarm, in this case, or the controller. And that swarm is not just any one little neuron. It includes the 100 university presidents. It includes about 100, of the leading CEOs of the major NGOs, non-governmental organizations or nonprofits, be it the Clinton Global Initiative or the World Economic Forum, right? Again, it's not any one group, right? Or the Council for Foreign Relations. It involves bankers, the centralized banks. It involves the 100-odd plus prime ministers and presidents. And they all are highly connected. They're a cell phone reach away from each other. They work together. They play together. They meet together. Their kids hang out together, etc. And we talked about in that video, the swarm also has 2 public-facing front ends that back up the swarm, which includes Hollywood and influencers like Tucker Carlson and Elon Musk and all these people. These people do not get visibility without the swarm's approval, okay? So anyone who gets major visibility out there is getting it because they've been anointed and they've been approved. So please keep that in mind. Don't get fooled by that. And that is what we need to understand. The front end of that swarm is 2 particular groups: the obvious establishment, which includes the people that you obviously recognize as your oppressor. Someone like a Fauci, someone like the Clintons, okay? Someone like the Bushes. That's obvious. You don't have to be that intelligence to talk about them or expose them. But the more interesting one is the not so obvious establishment, all right? The people that the swarm has decided that after they create the problems for you, that you will then go to them, okay? So they've already created a safety valve. So as people get angry and angrier, instead of building a bottoms-up movement, you get exploited by these anointed leaders. And you know that they're anointed leaders is because they get massive publicity. They get to go on all the TV shows. and all the TV shows are owned by the swarm. So why would they allow someone who actually wants to shatter or destroy the swarm on there? So you really have to get very rational about this. The other important thing to recognize is that the swarm, I'm going to curse here, so if you want to close your eyes, you can, or your ears, and if you have a problem with that, is they don't give a fuck, okay? If you catch them in some video talking about how they're going to fuck you over. So James O'Keefe is a moron, okay? Oh my God, I caught Pfizer. Oh my God, I got BlackRock. They don't give a damn about that. You can expose all day long. In fact, the exposition is what they enjoy because they will make you more helpless. So imagine we live in some kingdom. There's a king, and we're all the peasants in that kingdom. One guy says, did you know the king just raped my sister and my mother and my daughter? Oh my God. And then and you share that with all the other people. Oh my God, did you know that the king just stole all my money and all my hard-earned money and he just took it? Oh my God, that's so awful. Did you, I have pictures of the king, sodomizing animals here. Oh my God. Now you keep doing that over and over again. What does that really lead to? That doesn't lead to a liberation mentality. You go, oh my God, the king is so powerful. We can't do anything. And then the king delivers you some ministers who drive in on their horseback and they say, we're going to help you out. They're the king's ministers. And that is what is going on. Kennedy and Trump are part of the swarm. They're completely part of the swarm. And what's amazing is how the peasants who are not awakened yet keep thinking these fools are going to help them. And our movement, Truth, Freedom, Health, is the only movement on the planet that teaches people the swarm, that teaches people the operating system of how the swarm actually works. And that's why the science of systems is key, because they understand the science of systems. They understand how things work. They understand that you have to create a bunch of people who are completely undisciplined. Their kids don't know how to take advice from their parents. The kids are not organized. They're not disciplined. They think they can talk back all day. They think their opinions matter. So they've created an environment now where there is no discipline among the people that they organize. So because of there's no discipline, there's no structure, people easily give away their power back to the anointed leaders like Trump or Kennedy, because they have been made, as I talked about in the video, unhealthy, fat, right, ignorant, dumb, and frankly, lazy to build up their own wherewithal to do that. And that's what we do. It's a lot of hard work. We have new people coming to our movement. We have young people, old people. We have to teach people how to, organize. We have to teach people how to get structured. I can't tell you how much effort it takes to organize people. The elites have standard operating procedures, how to organize, right? They don't do anything just on the whim. Everything is highly structured and organized. And if we're going to build a movement to shatter the swarm, you have to, first of all, understand the theoretical framework, how they're organized. That's the science of systems. And you have to understand what is our goal, what is our decision making. It's a very different process. But without that scientific understanding, we will always be following these anointed leaders. And that's what's going on. So what really concerns the elites is not that you expose them. They love you exposing them. They don't give a damn. Fucker Carlson's out there now broken from Fox and exposing them. What is that? What value is that? It's useless. Once exposition is done enough times, it doesn't mean anything. What really concerns them is, will you, everyday people, get organized and become independent of their anointed leaders like Trump and Kennedy? They know people are waking up to the Faucis. That's a no-brainer. By the way, Robert Kennedy didn't say anything against Fauci in 2020. He was promoting strict lockdowns, lock, step, and barrel with Fauci, and lock, step, and barrel with Trump. He waited a year and a half because then he could be used as a tool to act as though he's some freedom fighter. He's full of shit. And that's what the swarm does. They anoint their leaders. They give them their publicity. And when real leaders like myself and others come from below, and the movement for Truth, Freedom, Health emerges, their immediate instinct is to make us invisible. But the problem they have is we got our word out to about 500 million people all over the planet in 2020 when there was this opening. And now we've built this very, very powerful educational movement. So they're not concerned, again, trust me, they're not concerned about James O'Keefe. That guy's just milking money by telling the obvious and then doing videos on the obvious, okay? What they are concerned about, will you break free from their anointed leaders? And that, what we call the not so obvious establishment. Will you get it? Oh my God, there's all these contradictions with Kennedy, and I'm not going to choose the lesser of two evils. That is their deep concern. Will you awaken to that? And will you also break free from their theater? And will you get disciplined to start understanding the dynamics? Will you, their fear is that will you start learning system science? And where your children start learning it. So that's how you shatter the swarm. And they're concerned that you will actually fight for getting the life that you deserve versus relying on some idiot in Malibu flying Falcons and, you know, competing with how many women he can have sex with. That's Robert Kennedy. Okay. That's what they're concerned about. Will you actually follow one of your own? Will you actually learn how to govern? So again, let me repeat, they're not concerned about movies and videos and tweets and posts about child trafficking, about exploits and murders. They don't give a damn about that. That's why they allow it. But they will not allow guys like me and our movement visibility. The fact that that swarm video got out, I'm sure it had about 100 million views. That was because all of you took it and you started putting it out there. And that is called a movement. So if you truly care, you know, for yourself, your families, and want to get educated, want to get disciplined and get activated, well, you've come to the right place. That's the movement for truth, freedom, health. And that it's been a 50-year journey for me, a very long journey of a lot of hard work, a lot of discipline, learning, getting all their degrees, doing work on my own, organizing, putting books together. And then, you know, it's congealed into what we have right now. We've created a organization of leaders globally. We've created about 500,000 students globally. But the goal is, this is about you. This is not about me. I just happen to be a place in history where I came from one of you. I never forgot where I came from. And I decided to put all that knowledge together to organize A, the understanding of system science, B, to put it into a framework that anyone can learn it within a few hours, and then not just make it theoretical, but get on the ground. You'll see me doing videos like this, and you'll see me on the ground handing out flyers. And that's what we expect. That's why we call our program the Truth, Freedom, and Health Warrior Scholar Program. It's not just you learn and then you just sit at home watching me, etc. This is about you getting off your butts and having reliance on yourself, learning how to lead, but you have to start with theory. And that's why the second to last video that John played, which talks about why we need to build a movement and that you need the theoretical foundation. But let me really finish on a couple of points. That the swarm makes you hopeless. The way they make you hopeless is to have you keep talking about exposing them. It may sound contradictory, okay? So you have to understand that when, and particularly they expose themselves, not when it's at the right time, but when you can make a movie about it. Have you ever noticed that? It's like a rape is taking place and they walk away from it. Their media do not cover it. They wait until 2 years later and then they write a Hollywood movie about it, right? And then they make martyrs of people and they make money off of that. But they do not talk about the incident when it's occurring and amplified, because that would anger people into action. So, and I call that delayed truth. And delayed truth is deadly. It's engineered. Fucker Carlson didn't say shit about the backdoor portal that I discovered he knew about in 2020, because it could have made a difference. He could have amplified it to 100 million people. He didn't do that. We had to do that. And we were very successful at doing that. Robert fucking Kennedy didn't do anything about Fauci in 2020. We ran the Fire Fauci campaign. We collected hundreds of thousands of signatures delivered to Trump. He was nowhere to be found. He waited a year and a half, stole all of our material, and wrote the real Anthony Fauci. And then he has someone else now writing the real Robert F. Kennedy book to amplify him as a truth warrior, which is stealing our words. So they literally copycat us, mimic us, because they want to mislead people back into the swarm. So they never tell the truth on time, because if they told the truth on time like we did, you would empower people and people would get empowered. And that's what our movement did in 2020. We did that. not Trump, not Kennedy, none of these misleaders. And that is what they're afraid of. They're afraid that more people are going to not just wake up to the exposition of their oppression, but realize, oh, this is how I'm going to shatter the swarm. Okay? So therefore, they create their anointed leaders. Trump is anointed by them. They used Obama for 8 years, black guy, first president, whatever, manipulated a lot of working people. Then they brought in Trump to manipulate white working class people. Now, because of our work, we've awakened people to break from the left and the right. So they bring in these two fools, Trump and Kennedy. Meanwhile, knowing that we're the ones who did all the hard work. Okay? And they know that you are awakening to this. They have all the data. Trust me. An organization called Palantir, run by Peter Theyll, is monitoring all of social media. They can monitor sentiment. It's called sentiment analysis. They know people are breaking. People are breaking from the left and the right, and they want real truth. So therefore, they have their anointed leaders, Trump, who's manipulating the right-wing MAGA, and then they have Kennedy, who's trying to bring some of the left and the right and completely clusterfuck everyone. But the good news is we exist. Historically, when people awaken, they have the not so obvious establishment, which corrals them back into the establishment. And then another 20 years of bullshit goes on. Not this time. This time, the movement for truth, freedom, and health exists. We have 500,000 people around the world. And we're doing open houses like today, where all of you get to come. You get to ask questions. We interact, and we all learn together. And we talk about deep questions. And we get to empower ourselves to recognize we don't have to follow this guy from a rapist family, who his wife hangs herself, and then 5 months later he's married to another woman who endorsed Hillary Clinton 3 times. I'm talking about Robert Kennedy, who in his own home everyone has to have the jab, the mRNA vaccine before they come. And this is in 2022. We are breaking you off your brainwashing to stop following the Kennedys and the Trumps. You don't have golden plated toilets. You don't get to go falconing, right, in Malibu. By the way, that's what Robert Kennedy does. That's a sport of the sheiks of Saudi Arabia, right? The elite of the elites. So if you think those people are going to help you, those people are going to shatter the swarm. Again, I keep saying you really have to have a serious come to Jesus moment and recognize that these people are like the Sadducees and the Pharisees at the time of Christ. They speak the words of God, but they do directly the opposite. And the only way out of this is for us to grow our movement. Good news, the movement is built. What do I mean by the movement is built? The last video that John played prior to the presidential video, we have all these amazing tools. What are those tools? Well, first of all, the knowledge. As my great-grandfather said, knowledge is power. But in order to acquire that knowledge, you're going to have to sit down and work hard. A lot of students think, oh, I just watched a YouTube video, I know everything. No, you can't get it that way. You have to study it. You have to go to class. You have to put in the time. A lot of the things I have to deal with young people who come to our movement is their parents didn't do their job. Their parents didn't discipline the kids. Their parents didn't tell the kids, shut the fuck up. You listen to me and you have to do your homework and you have to do it like this. Everyone can talk back. Everyone can do whatever they want. So you have a whole bunch of undisciplined matter that we have to work at, and we are doing that. So we have a whole infrastructure to train leaders, and we have to do the work that parents didn't do. It's a ton of work, guys, and I have to do it every day, but we do it because I care, because I come from one of you. Number two, these people do not care about your suffering. The life expectancy of the United States is going like this, literally like this, since 1980. And that is brought to you by the left and the right. The left and the right, not the Democrats, not the Republicans, but both of them. Okay? They eat pasture-raised beef, organic foods, non-GMO stuff. They talk about regenerative farming, but not for you. Okay? Robert fucking Kennedy, think about him. I know where he lives in Malibu. He eats all the best foods, but he endorsed Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton is for GMOs. She's for Monsanto. She supports glyphosate. She supports Roundup Ready, soy, and corn. Think about that contradiction. He doesn't give a fuck about you. In his own home, everyone had to be vaccinated. All of his kids got vaccinated. And I wish at some point, I'm going to play you this video. He talks about, my children all had to be vaccinated. And this is with the mRNA vaccine. He says, they were going to law school and they couldn't get into law school, 3 of my kids, until they got vaccinated. Think about what he's saying. Here's a lawyer supposedly fighting for medical freedom, and he didn't fight for his own kids. This is 2020, 2021, 2022. This guy's full of shit. And when I exposed him in 2020, he went into the Kennedy smear campaign, and he talks about he doesn't like bullies. He's a bully. He said, I was a vaccine maker. I'm friends with Bill Clinton. I'm friends with Bill Gates. He did the most outrageous false defamation. We had to sue him in federal court. He ran away from service. He defaulted, and we're going after him again. So Robert fucking Kennedy, Donald J. fucking Trump are all part of it. They probably banged the same people. That's how incestuous they are. So if you're coming to today, tonight, wherever you are, recognize that the great news is you have someone like me who could have sold out. I used all that knowledge, all those degrees to put together literally a university. You could call it the university to shatter the swarm. You have to start with the knowledge. You have to be disciplined. You have to learn the stuff. You have to sit on your ass, lock yourself in a room and study it. Number two, you got to get on the ground. You can go through the leadership program. You have to connect with other people. You can't be on these keyboards anymore because they're all controlled. And bottom line, you have to recognize they're running a theater. They are running a theater. They choose who the pro and the anti is. Oh, Robert Kennedy versus a doofus called Hotez. It's literally out of some freaking WWE. Mark Zuckerberg versus Zuck versus Musk. You see what they're doing? This is nothing out of like the gladiator games to misdirect you so you don't build a movement. But you don't have an excuse anymore because the movement for truth, freedom, and health exists. You have someone like me who's running for president. We know the legislature is corrupt. We know the presidency is corrupt. We know the judiciary is corrupt. I've experienced it. As president, I will do what I'm not going to do anything different, but I'm going to use the bully pulpit of that presidency to educate billions, not just hundreds of millions, but billions overnight on how to boost your immune system, on how we should support our local farmers, and how you can start to think. And we will give you that education. What are the 7 secrets of innovating, right? How you can be a leader and how you manage your own finances. This is the future. It's got to be at the ends. Nothing can happen top down. Kennedy, Trump, their anointed leaders always bring you back to them, not to you. And that is how they make you hopeless. They make you hopeless by allowing you to expose them. And then you get into what's called learned helplessness. Because you think, I guess I can't do anything. The king just rapes my mother, my daughter. It's just a way to, I saw a video on it. I called them child trafficking. That's horrible. But that's what they do. There's nothing we can do. Well, the issue is we need to discuss 90% of the time what is to be done and maybe 10% of the time how they're screwing us. And that is what they don't want you to do. And they surely do not want you to follow one of your own like me or the leaders that we're developing. That is too dangerous because now you've broken from their anointed, screwball misleaders, Trump and Kennedy. Will always bring you back to them. That's why this movement's so powerful. So in closing, remember, the swarm is engineering your hopelessness through allowing idiots like James O'Keefe and all these people on Twitter, everyone's a journalist now exposing something. They don't give a fuck about that. The more you expose, and you're doing that 99% of the time, and you're not even considering how you liberate yourself. And when you think about liberating yourself, the solution they give you is them. Oh, vote for Kennedy, vote for Trump. They're going to liberate you. As long as you're doing that, you're in the swarm. What concerns them is when you break from it, when you start becoming independent, understand the science of systems, figure out how you can be a leader, how you can obliterate the swarm, and you can deliver truth, freedom, and health to your family. That's what really concerns them. The good news is we're here. It's an educational movement to really awaken your consciousness. So I'm going to go back to our Zoom people, and I'm going to see what questions people have. So people on, we have quite a number of people here on social media logging. And let me go back to our, John, are you there? Or Suresh? Can one of you guys?
Yes, sir.
John, can you select any questions? Let's take 3 questions from there, and I'll take 3 questions. So the questions, we'll open it up, and I may even share this, John, so people can see this. I'm going to share, okay? Yeah, so anyone on Zoom who has a question that you want to ask. So go ahead. We have lots and lots of amazing comments here. Go ahead, John.
I'm not seeing any messages.
Okay, I see some in the chat. Let's bring this up. Bernie Becerra says, Dr. Shiva, keep fighting. Someone said, do you know Gary Heaven? No, I don't know who Gary is. God bless you, Dr. Shiva, for your course and dedication. Let me go over here.
Catherine says, are you concerned that when they feel threatened, they will try to destroy you?
That they'll do what, John?
That they will try to destroy you.
Oh, okay. So let's talk about that. So can you give Catherine? Catherine's still there?
Yeah.
If we can bring Catherine on. So Catherine's question is, are you afraid they'll try to destroy you? Well, look, the old ways that they used to destroy you, Catherine, where they shot you, right? Or they stole your family. But the new way that they do it is to try to make you invisible, okay? That's what they try to do. But more importantly, I think we need to ask a different question. The question is, what is going to happen, Catherine, if you don't learn these concepts and if you don't advance your consciousness? Catherine, are you there? Is she there, John? So that's a question I have for Catherine, to all of you. What happens if you live like those peasants where the king is, raping you, pillaging you, and doing all this stuff, and you know about it, and you don't do it? What happens, forget you, to your children? What happens?
Sorry, Dr. Shiva, it is Catherine, and
Hi,
I am
Catherine.
here.
How are you?
Hi, I'm well, very well. Thank you very much. I completely believe in what you're saying, and I support your movement, and I agree. I have my own personal journey as to why I know this to be true 100%. I'm currently living in the UK, but I'm an American citizen born in New York City. So I'll continue to follow and try to educate myself. So thank you very much.
Yeah. So I think the main thing is, Catherine, is that if you look at what's happened over the last 80 years in the United States, and it's happening globally, is the lifespan of the individuals, your children are going to live less than you. Just consider that. If your lifespan was 70 years old, okay, your children's lifespan, we can look at the numbers in the United States, 76 is going to be like 72, and it's dropping. Just consider what I'm saying. And you have I have many, many examples of a father who's in his 90s and his son died when he was 60. Okay? And this is not the vaccine, okay? It's a whole bunch of policies that got passed over the last 50 years. And those policies include destroying the environment. Those policies include making sure only the bourgeois got all the health care that they needed. The policies included destroying, poor nutrition. The policies included lockdowns. Kennedy and Trump both supported lockdowns. Lockdowns destroy your genetics in your body, called the CTRA genes, which will upregulate inflammation and downregulate antivirals. So think about what they did. The lockdowns affected your biology. And you're looking at a systems biologist to understand this. And that systems change in your body killed a lot of people. It exposed them to even greater viruses. It, in fact, exposed them to inflammation, which is the cause of most death. That destroyed their immune systems. That was brought to you by Trump and Kennedy. Kennedy, the so-called leader, the bullshitter, the scumbag of the quote-unquote medical freedom movement, was strict lockdowns. And he was rationalizing, saying it's going to save the climate, okay? That is what Kennedy did. And Trump did the same thing. Lockdowns, a policy of lockdowns, destroyed people's biology. That's just one example. You go to lockdowns, you go to depression, you go to obesity, whole bunch of triggers that was designed by their policies are killing your children. Your children are going to live less than you. So if you don't want to do anything, and there's 8 billion of us, what the fuck are people afraid of? There's nothing to be afraid of unless you don't give a fuck about your children. So you actually need to make that very, very prudent decision. Are you selfish for your livelihood in this mortal frame right now, or do you care about your children and their children's children? Because they don't care about you. They will do transhumanism. They'll do all this stuff. They'll bring robots in. And it is really a struggle. It's, in many ways, it is a caste struggle. The swarm is a caste, the modern day caste system, and you are the lower caste, and they're the upper caste. And it is us versus them. Don't let them fool you. Oh, let's heal the divide. That's Kennedy's slogan. It's bullshit. There is a division, and it is us versus them. Don't let them put this liberal imperialism on you. It's all bullshit. Someone is asking, how do I control the school without pulling them out to homeschool? Great. So that's Claire. Let me put this up. So to everyone on Zoom, someone, Claire Halberton said, how do I control the school without pulling them out to homeschool? It's a great, great question. So all of us are in this very interesting conundrum, right? You're living at this point right now. You're not getting clean food. People saying, okay, I'm going to go start my own farm. Your children aren't getting properly educated. Let me go do my own schooling. So now you're farming, now you're schooling, and you're trying to survive, right? Think about what the communal property that was ours, that we paid all those tax dollars into. Where's all that gone? So we are working day and night. If you're a working person, you know, I know at least for the, at least 3 days out of 5 days, my wages are going to the government. And then what do I get from the government? Well, I'm not getting really good education. I'm not getting really, you know, they've destroyed the food system with factory farming, et cetera. They're putting crap in the atmosphere, and then they're starting wars, and then they're printing money, and they can print as much money as they want. So what are you actually getting? So now, what is the solution? So everyone's saying, okay, let's go on our own, right? Let's go do our own little farms. Let's go do our own little schools. You can go try to do that. But you know what? They're everywhere. You can try to go do your farm, but you're getting chemtrails. You're getting the waters polluted. You can try to go do your own school, but you need infrastructure for that. So that is the path of sort of checking out of this very interconnected system. That's never going to do it. It may have some immediate short gains, but it's not going to change. Remember, there's more of us than them. What we need to do is we need to get organized. We need to seize their means of quote unquote production, because all of those stuff that they built are our property. It's not theirs. It was done with your tax dollars, with your sweat and blood. Go look at Elon Musk. That bastard made his wealth went up by $200 billion during the pandemic. So during the lockdowns that Kennedy and Trump promoted, the billionaires, the 600 billionaires made $2.3 trillion. That is not their wealth. I would say it should be expropriated. It's not their wealth. So why are we, you know, I give the example. Imagine if the workers at Whole Foods, who are all poor working people, they can't even afford the food at Whole Foods. Imagine if they got organized and they said, you know what? I'm the one who actually delivers value here, and we're going to run Whole Foods now. We're going to make sure the local Whole Foods get stuff from the local farmers. And that is a level of educational enlightenment we need to get to, the organization of us working people. And that occurred, by the way, in the 1800s and the 1900s, all over the world. And that is when the elites, the swarm, got so frightened. It was bottoms-up movements. That is when we got elimination of child labor. That is when we got hygiene, all those things. So, Claire, to answer your question, how do I control the school without pulling them out of school? Well, you know, there's a short-term solution, and then there's the real solution. The short term could be you pull them out of school, but that's very difficult for most people. Now you got to work. Now you got to watch your kids. Now you got to afford daycare. Not everyone can do that. Or you have to pool together resources, and you have to start your homeschooling. But imagine if these institutions that our tax dollars built actually work for us. Imagine if teachers could actually do teaching. That is not going to happen without a movement. And that is what we need to build. These short-term solutions are never going to do it. Look, there's significant amount of infrastructure in place that can be used the right way. People say, are robots good or bad? Or is AI good or bad? Depends on who controls it. If the 0.1% are controlling robots and AI, they're going to use it to get rid of you. But if we, as a people, control AI and robots, that's a very different thing. We'll probably use it to make sure all the menial work in your home and all the stuff gets done. And you can start doing creative work, innovation, you know, maybe working out longer, getting strong physically, mentally, emotionally, doing yoga and meditation, all that stuff. You have other stuff taken care of. But the elites don't want to do that. They want to use a robot to get rid of you. They want to use it for them so they can have an Elysium on this planet. Next question, John.
Christy asks, what kind of ground movements are you expecting after, what kind of on-the-ground movements are you expecting after taking the courses?
Right. So let's, So John, I don't know if you have that one video where we did the stand up. Maybe you can have it there, John, but it's a good question. So Christy, here's the bottom line. One of the things we teach in the course, by the way, every one of you, we're going to introduce everyone new after we sign off on social media. By the way, everyone on social media, if you guys want to go to vashiva.com/orientation, you're invited to come to our open house that's underway today. But it also takes place again tonight at 8 p.m. And I'll put the banner up there so people can see that. All right. So that's also occurring tonight. So you can join us there. But before I sign off on social media, what is it? What does a movement mean? Let's go down the foundation. A movement is the movement of information, matter, and energy. What is information? Thoughts. Your thoughts start moving consciousness, right? You go from this low level slave mentality to think, oh my God, I got to choose a lesser of two evils. Oh, Bobby's going to help us. Yeah, he banged a bunch of women, and he may have murdered his wife, and yeah, he may have endorsed Hillary Clinton 3 times. Yeah, he may have forced everyone to jab when they came to their home. Oh yeah, he may have vaccine mandated people. Yeah, he supported lockdowns, but he says a lot of good things. To get over that slave mentality, we have to raise consciousness. How do you raise consciousness? The movement of consciousness. You have to understand the physics. So that's step one. These are all interconnected. That's what we teach. So you have to go through the knowledge. Without that, you may get it. You may think, I know it all. Why do I have to take this guy's course? He thinks he knows it all. Well, the reality is, it's not I know it all. The reality is, when you learn how to fly an airplane, there's Bernoulli's principle. You have to study it. If Bernoulli told you, I know Bernoulli's principle, you're going to say, oh, you know it all? No, he actually discovered something that you have to study. Same thing here. It's not about, oh, my teacher thinks he knows it all. 2 + 2 is 4. No, he's actually teaching you mathematics. Okay. So you have to study that. Number one. Number two, movement of matter and the movement of energy. Well, movement of matter is people starting to move, which means independent of the establishment. So in the 1800s, working people started realizing, wait a minute, we're going through this massive transformation from the agricultural to the industrial. A lot of jobs are going to get lost. We're not going to get treated well. We're being forced into these factories where children have to work 19-hour days under these horrible conditions. So they organized. What did that organization look like? First of all, educating other people on why you needed to get organized. And that would maybe include handing out a flyer. Christy, to answer your question, that may include getting on social media and saying, hey, Dr. Shiva is being shadow banned. I'm going to share his video. That's a form of activism. On our website, when you sign up as a warrior, even if you sign up, you don't have, and I'll come back to that, but you can go in, sign up for free. You get all these amazing tools that you can hand out flyers. You can go talk to your neighbors. This is activism. You're not going and sharing their bullshit. You're sharing our knowledge. And then the other piece of activism is you starting to not only learn this and teach it, but starting to serve. So we have that model, learn, teach, and serve, where you share your energy of your time to educate others. You start volunteering. You help build a movement. Now, we have 2 vehicles to do that: the Movement for Truth, Freedom, and Health, and my run for U.S. president, because we're going to need to get on the ballot in every state. They're not expecting that, everyone. We get on the ballot in every state. That itself is like a bomb went off to them. They don't know what happened, because remember, they spend hundreds of millions of dollars getting their candidates on ballots. And we're going to do it with people power. All right. This is why Trump and Kennedy both have billionaires behind them. We don't have billionaires. We have people. And it's ultimately labor is more powerful than capital. And that's what we want to show. So handing out flyers, simple thing you can do. John, did I leave that bumper sticker over there? Hold on. Yeah, I left it over.
I can get it.
Yeah. The other thing you can do is we have a bumper sticker. Here's something anyone, if you're really lazy, but you want to help the movement, and it's your first sort of dip into activism, you can do something really, really simple. And John's bringing me this very nice flyer we designed here. Thank you. And you see this right here. What this is, it says Dr. Shiva for President, Truth, Freedom, and Health. What's really powerful about this is you put this on the back of your car, on the back left window. 100,000 people will see this flyer, okay? Al Dancy says, are the bumper stickers on the website? They're on the website, right, John? Yep, you can go to shivaforpresident.com and you can get it.
Yes, they are.
But you put one of these on It's quite amazing. 100,000 people in a day will view your bumper sticker. Not like 10, not like 20, 100,000 on average. And if you have this bumper sticker on between now and 2024, right? Let's say that's about 500 days, something like that, right? Or 400 days. That means you're going to get 40 million views. That is more views than people get on social media. You see, they do not want us going offline. The future is offline. If all of us here, 1 million people hand out, and we did this, 1,000 flyers, right? That's about 1 billion flyers we get out there. You've hit pretty much every household in the United States at least 3 times over. So it's people power. They want us glued to drug addicts, platforms like Elon Musk, or, CIA operatives like Mark Zuckerberg, or all of these people. They're all part of the swarm. They don't want us doing something simple, right? This is not, you're not donating $100,000, $5-10, including shipping. Put this on the back of your car, okay? And that's the kind of stuff everyone can do. Hand out a flyer. We've made everything open source. You can print our flyers and you can print it locally and hand it out. All right. Claire says, I have a waterproof black marker. That's great. Okay. Excellent. Yeah. People power, getting on the ground. But that's what we need to do. Before, to everyone on social media, I encourage all of you to come to our town hall tonight. Maybe Emily or someone could put it up there when it is, but it's taking place tonight at 8 p.m. We're going to teach people. The talk is going to be on innovation. Okay. Invite your kids. Okay. I'm going to teach people the 7 secrets of innovation. We have a book here. You don't have to buy the book. You can get it tonight. It's free. Absolutely come. Our program for president is about teaching you how to build your immune system. That's our healthcare program. That's it. You can do it anywhere in your home. Our program for the environment is teaching you how to farm locally, support local farmers. Boom. That's the environment program. Our program for education is teaching you the knowledge of system science. By the way, anyone who goes through the Truth, Freedom, and Health program, it's absolutely free for your children. I try to give away the program, which I used to teach at MIT for, people used to pay thousands of dollars to go to MIT. No one wanted it. So I charge a very small fee, $100. And if you can't afford that, let me know. Call me up and I'll give you even a scholarship. But once you as an adult take the program, you can give it to your kids as many times as you want. You can give it to 1 million kids, 1 kid in your neighborhood. So please do that. All right. So as we sign off this evening, we'll have our Truth, Freedom, and Health Town Hall. Go to shivaforpresident.com and become a volunteer. If you want to donate, by the way, I have a very different model of donation. I was brought up, life has to be reciprocal. If you donate me something, I give you back something. You get books, you get content, you get information. You can even get the entire Truth, Freedom, and Health program. So go check that out. I cannot take anything for nothing. The billionaires, I find it amazing. These people ask for money and they don't give you anything except mislead you to the swarm. Those of you who are new, go to truthfreedomhealth.com, become a warrior scholar and support this, support yourself, support your children. So anyway, I'm going to sign off on social media. So everyone out there, be well, be the light, and join us. I'm going to continue with our town hall as we introduce some great people. Thank you. Be well, people on social media.